Hello, today I'm going to be talking about the creative critical reflection question number 3. This question is, how did your production skills develop throughout this project? The first thing that I would like to talk about is how we approached both tasks. So this includes our preliminary task and obviously our main task. There were 4 members in my team or my group. And we all basically approached it with a little bit of knowledge. Me personally, I have, prior to doing Media AS level, I completed GCSE Media Studies. So again, prior to this, I did have some knowledge and production skills in terms of creating a coursework project. However, it wasn't one similar to this. I basically had to create a magazine, so it wasn't as many similar skills to what this project required. The first production skill that I'd like to touch upon is management, and this is quite a broad term because I think personally it covers a lot of things. But firstly, organisation of equipment and resources. So this included props for the mise en scène. We all took it in turns in our team to buy or contribute to the props or any resources that we knew that we would need for the project. So I went out and bought a pillbox that was suitable for it, and also because we were filming at my house, there were a lot of props that were naturally here. I didn't have to go and buy them. However, prior to coming and filming, I did send pictures to the group. We discussed what we think is suitable, what wasn't suitable. We looked on Lazada and other online shopping places for inspiration and things that we might want to use as props. I want to talk about the organisation of us, and when I say us, of the people involved in our project. We knew from the start that we didn't want to bring in extra people for acting, because we knew that if we were to bring people in, it would just make organisation and booking in dates just like 10 more times harder and awkward, because we're all on really busy schedules. We all have lots of personal and individual things that we need to do, so getting in dates and working together physically in person was already really difficult to organise. So I think that was a really good strategy for us. I think we're one of the only groups in our media class that didn't bring people in. We used the people in our group for everything. We didn't have the help of other people. So I think that was a good strategy, and if I were to do the project again, I would 100% do the same thing. How we organised each other, or how we kept ourselves organised, I think the first or the second lesson in, we created a Line group chat. This was super helpful and easy to use, and just great because it kept us all in touch. Any questions that we had, any documents or links to things or pictures or updates, we could just all be in the same place online and hear from each other. And I think that, although it's a very simple and easy strategy, was very helpful. Organising people and times, I already touched on this slightly. I said that it was really, really difficult. Obviously, we were working around school sessions. We were working around after school activities and also busy study timetables. I think learning to be flexible within our group, but also being firm at the same time, was something that I have learned, and something that personally for me has developed throughout this project. Beforehand, I would be pretty easygoing and quite a people pleaser. And I still am to some extent. However, what I have learned throughout this process is that, especially because we were filming at my house, is that although everybody has their individual schedules, we do need to prioritize our coursework, and organizing people and the people in my group, I think, was one of my key strengths throughout this task. I was sort of the person in the group chat going, guys, we need to get a date in, we need to do this, so and so, are you free on this date? So sort of like pulling everybody together in that sort of sense. And I think that was a skill, a production skill of organising that I improved on. Also, working as a team, I would just like to include in this part was, essential for this project. It was so, so important. We did have our ups and downs as a group, but the ways that we sort of kept close together as a group was regular production meetings and regular production vlogs, some of which are shown on my blog. As I mentioned earlier, the Line group chat. I think, considering the fact that I did not know any of these people before we started this project, we all became a lot closer, and that was nice to watch. We learnt that everybody has strengths and everybody has weaknesses, and it's not about just going, oh yeah, well, she's good at that and he's bad at that. It's applying our knowledge of the strengths and weaknesses to our project. For example, camera work, Prin is excellent at. He's really good at what he does, whereas camera work is not my forte. So we used Prin's knowledge and expertise when we were doing the camera work. However, I am very good at narrative writing and planning of the story, making sure things make sense, I applied my expertise to that segment of the project. The project has been stressful for all of us, and I think that learning to work as a team is very much as important than any of the other production skills, because if you can't work as a team, there is no way that you're going to be able to produce a higher standard end product than without working as a team. For storyboarding, I had a small amount of experience in storyboarding before I came to the project. But if we compare our storyboard in comparison to the storyboard that we use for our preliminary task, it is 100 times better. It is way more clear. It is way more detailed. It is way more accurate. And I really think that, improving our storyboarding skills was very, very beneficial because we were referencing back to our storyboard so much. And as much as we changed things from it and, our storyboard isn't identical to our end product, it was really helpful to sort of use as something to go off of. Apart from our storyboard, we didn't have sort of a backbone of our project. This was sort of something that we could always have just, to refer back. What were we going to do for that? What does that shot look like? What angle were we going to do that from? So yeah, it was very helpful. Considering I'm really bad at drawing, I didn't do the drawing part of the storyboard. But the captions and things like that, I think I got a lot more better at because I was learning to be more precise and be more specific instead of just being like, okay, we're going to do this, and not really writing what. I think as an overall conclusion, I would say that in comparison to our preliminary task, our organisation and our production skills in every single aspect of this project is so much better than our preliminary task. This goes down to even the smallest bits of things, using all of the technology and the kit, setting up the gimbal, setting up the tripod, setting up the camera, using the camera. I literally had no idea. I had a small idea, obviously, but I felt really like stupid at the start because I wasn't 100% sure on how to set up a tripod properly. And because we've filmed, we've done practice shots, we've done, our preliminary task, I've gotten so much better at just being more slick and knowledgeable at using all the kit. This also includes things like exporting, editing, organising our footage. Although I didn't do the main chunk of editing, Tati did, throughout this process, we have been doing production vlogs and creating small, short videos and films to upload onto our blogs. And I have been doing all the editing, obviously, because it's individual for that. So, organising and editing using iMovie, which is what I'm using now, I've become like so much better in, and that has really boosted my confidence. Our sound was, when being evaluated in our preliminary task, was one of the things that our classmates commented quite a lot upon. In the preliminary task, the sound we just found and we literally just put it on top. We didn't really think about that much. It wasn't very suitable for the genre, whereas now the sound is synced. Our sound, we sync to the motion, the action taking place on the screen. It is a lot more suitable for our genre. It fits just much better. It just sounds a whole lot better. It creates a more, something is conjuring this evolving atmosphere, which is like referencing to what is going on the screen, so it makes a lot more sense. We obviously had a lot more time to plan and figure out things in our main project than in our preliminary task, but overall our mise en scène, the thought processes behind it, was so much more thought through, a lot more powerful and effective. And I think that's the small things in our project, in the mise en scène, in the lighting, in the costume, the fact that Baitoy doesn't have any makeup on, her hair is a little bit ragged and scruffy. It's the small little things that we purposefully planned that just makes it a lot more better. We were also filming outside of school, which obviously made things better. And we had a lot more flexibility to what we could use, what we could access, and what we needed to put in to make the thing work a lot better. And obviously, I have a much better insight into technology used in the industry. Before doing this, I had no idea what a gimbal was, let alone how to use it, how it is used in the industry. Again, I mentioned previously the editing that goes on behind the scenes, just how much it is, just how much work it is and how long it takes. And I do think that all these changes and improvement in these production skills are reflected in my blog and in our overall final film.